Your assignment is to solve the equations that are on the left. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then the equations that are on the right, A, B, C, D, I'll be working them out and giving you examples. I will upload this to It's Learning, and you will be required to show your work and then upload your work for me to check, and there is a deadline. I usually give a week. So I'm going to start with A. It says solve each equation, check your answer. You notice that we have a 3 here that we have to address. 3 times its absolute value equals 12. You first have to divide by 3. So now we have the absolute value of z plus 7 is equal to 12 divided by 3 gives you 4. Now that we have the absolute value by itself, we can separate it into the two possibilities. So we have z plus 7 equals 4. That's one possibility. And the other possibility is z plus 7 equals negative 4. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 7 from both sides. So the first possible answer is z equals negative 3. The next equation, I'm going to subtract 7. And 7 minus 7 is 0, so we have z equals negative 7 plus negative 4 gives you negative 11. So the possible answers are z equals negative 3 or z equals negative 11. And the last step, which I want all of you to do, is check. So I'm going to go ahead and pause it for right now. To check, you have to substitute. You have 3 absolute value, negative 3 plus 7 equals 12. Negative 3 plus 7 gives you 4. 3 times the absolute value of 4 equals 12. 3 times 4 equals 12, so that does check. Now we got to try z equals negative 11. So I have 3 absolute value, negative 11 plus 7 equals 12. 3 times the absolute value of negative 4 equals 12. And we know that the absolute value of negative 4 is 4. So 3 times 4 gives you 12, and that does check. Every answer you do have to check. This problem is different because you have an absolute value plus 5 equals 9. So we have to address that plus 5. So what you have to do first, before we even think about different solutions, we have to address that 5. So now we have the absolute value 4 minus 2y equals 9 minus 5, which gives you 4. Remember, 5 minus 5 is 0. Now that we have 4 minus 2y, the absolute value, we can talk about what are the possible solutions. So at this point, you can go ahead and come up with your two equations. So you have 4 minus 2y equals 4. And then your other possible solution is 4 minus 2y equals negative 4. So remember that you always have to, if you're multiplying or you're adding or dividing, you have to address that first. Now I'm going to go ahead and solve this equation. So we subtract 4 from both sides. So we have negative 2y. 4 minus 4 gives you 0. So automatically y has to be 0. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to solve the other equation by subtracting 4. 4 minus 4 is 0. Negative 2y equals, this is not 0. This is actually negative 4 minus 4, which gives you negative 8. And you notice that you're multiplying. So you have to divide both sides by negative 2. So y is equal to 4. So our two possible solutions are y equals 0 and y equals 4. We got to check that. How do we check? We have to substitute into the original equation. So I'm going to write here check. So the first one was 0. So we have absolute value 4 minus 2. And then we're going to substitute 0 in here. Plus 5. And we're going to check if it comes out to 9. 4 minus 2 times 0, well, that's just 4. The absolute value of 4 plus 5. And we do know that the absolute value of 4 is 4, so 4 plus 5 does give you 9. Now we're going to check the other possibility. So we have 4 minus 2 times 4 plus 5, and we want to check if it equals to 9. So we have 4 minus 2 times 4, which gives you 4 minus 8 plus 5 equals 9. And then we have the absolute value of negative 4 plus 5 equals 9. And we know that the absolute value of negative 4 is 4. Negative 4 is 4 units from 0, so we have 4 plus 5, which gives you 9, so that is the answer. So both answers do check. The next one is we're going to solve this equation and check for extraneous solutions. So we have the absolute value of 2t minus 3 equals 3t minus 2. Remember, the absolute value goes away when we think about the two possibilities. So it's 2t minus 3 equals 3t minus 2, or the other possibility is 2t minus 3 equals negative. You got to make that negative 3t minus 2, okay? So now we're going to go ahead and do the left-hand side equation first, and I'm going to use a different color. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to subtract 2t from both sides. 2t minus 2t, that's gone. 3t minus 2t is just 1t, and then you bring down the negative 2 or the minus 2, and then you have a negative 3. So you see you have a negative 2, you have to address that. You add 2 to both sides. So t is equal to negative 1. Possibly. We still got to check it. Now the other equation, I guess I'll draw a line here. The other equation, we got to solve for t again. So we have 2t minus 3 equals, this is a negative 1. We have to distribute the negative 1. Negative 1 times 3t gives you negative 3t. Negative 1 times negative 2 gives you positive 2. You notice you have a negative 3t here. I like to add 3t to both sides. So negative 3t plus 3t is 0. You're left with 2t plus 3t gives you 5t minus 3 equals 2. You add 3 to both sides. So you have 5t equals 5. Divide by 5. So 5 divided by 5 is 1. So t can either be negative 1 or t can be 1, but we got to check our answer. So we'll go ahead and pause it for right now. So let's go ahead and check. The absolute value of 2 times t is going to be 1 minus 3 equals 3 times 1 minus 2. So 2 times 1 gives you 2 minus 3 equals 3 times 1 gives you 3 minus 2. So that's 1. This is negative 1, and that does check. The absolute value of negative 1 is 1. So t equal 1 is a solution. So now we're going to try t equal negative 1. So that is a solution. So 2 times negative 1 minus 3 equals 3 times negative 1 minus 2. 3 times negative 1 is negative 3 minus 2. 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. Negative 3 minus 2 is negative 5. This is 2 times negative 1 is negative 2 minus 3. The absolute value of negative 5 is not negative 5. It has to be, it's not going to be negative 5. So this is not an answer. That's extraneous solution. So t equals 1. T equals 1 is the solution. So we're going to solve this absolute value equation. And we have the absolute value of 4 minus 3m equals m plus 10. And we can have two possibilities. So we have 4 minus 3m equals m plus 10, or 4 minus 3m equals negative m plus 10. So I'll use a different color. So I'm going to go ahead and add 3m to both sides. So negative 3m plus m is 0, so you're left with 4 equals 4m plus 10. 3m plus m gives you 4m. What we're going to do now is subtract 10 from both sides. So 4 minus 10 gives you negative 6 is equal to 4m divided by 4. So m is equal to negative 6 over 4, which gives you negative, you simplify by 2. So that gives you negative 3 over 2 as an answer. You can have fractions. Okay. I divided by both numerator and denominator by 2. So you get negative 3 over 2. I'm going to go ahead and change colors. So I have 4 minus 3m is equal to negative m minus 10. I'm going to add m to both sides. So I have 4 minus 2m, because negative 3m plus m gives you negative 2m. This is 0 minus 10. Subtract 4. Subtract 4, so I have negative 2m is equal to negative 14, because negative 10 minus 4 is negative 14. Divide by negative 2. So m is equal to 7. So we have a possibility of m equals 7 or m equal negative 3 over 2. We've got to check that. So I'll pause it. So we have the absolute value of 4 minus 3 times 7 is equal to 7 plus 10. 7 plus 10 gives you 17. You have 4 minus 3 times 7 is negative 21. The absolute value of 4 minus 21 is negative 17 is equal to 17, and that does check. Okay. The next one is negative 3/2. So we have the absolute value of 4 minus 3 times negative 3/2. And we're saying that equals to negative 3/2 plus 10. So we have a negative times a negative, that's a positive. So you have 4 plus 9 over 2 equals negative 3 over 2 plus 10. Because the absolute value of the positive will be this here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. So that's my common denominator. 2 times 4 is 8 plus 2 times 9 is 18, divided by 2 gives you 9. 8 plus 9 gives you 17. 2 times negative 3 gives you negative 6, divided by 2 gives you negative 3, plus 2 times 10 is 20. Negative 3 plus 20 gives you 17, so it does check. I know some of you don't like to work with fractions, but we do have some.